Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is aged 47 years old. I even have grandkids, and my husband passed away, my brother. And at the time when my husband passed away, this was after I had found someone who was willing to kill my husband, but not like physically. Everything that I did, I used this other traditional healer who ended my husband's life. So what happened to me is that I met my husband. He was more like a blesser to me. My husband was way older than I was. He was even older than my own father. At that time when I started dating him, I didn't even care. Like, he had told me that he had a wife, and he had told me that his wife was so sick, and at that time he said that his wife was forever having periods, and she was having period problems, so they were unable to make love since there was always blood that was always coming out of his wife's private part. So he wanted to be with me so that I can please him, and I was happy about this because my husband, he was a wealthy man. Even though I was really young when I finally moved in with my husband, people were always talking, but I didn't care about whatever that they were saying. All that I wanted was to be with him. There was a time when I truly loved my husband, when I started staying with him, even though people were saying that I was a gold digger. Me and my husband, we started staying together 5 months after the death of his wife, and people said that this thing that we had done, it was a taboo. For my husband, was supposed to wait for a little bit longer, but me and my husband, we loved each other so much that when his wife passed away, this was like freedom for us to do whatever that we wanted to do, because before his wife had passed away, our relationship was always kept in the shadows, and I wanted to be free with my man. I wanted to express my feelings towards him. I wanted him to introduce me to his relatives, and after she had passed away, this was like a perfect time for me. But still, the relatives, they seemed not to like me. They said that I had disrespected the woman who was married to my late husband, and I was supposed to honor her, but what I had done was a taboo, moving into her home 5 months after she had passed away. But me and my husband, we didn't care. We were madly in love. Soon after we had moved in with each other, I fell pregnant for the first time, and when I went to give birth, I found out that I had given birth to a baby girl. The second time around, I fell pregnant again. Then I found out that I had given birth to a baby girl again. It happened again, my brother, and I gave birth to a baby girl again. 3 girls that I had, and after I had given birth to these 3 girls, my husband sort of like grew tired of me giving birth to only baby girls. So my husband then said that, I want you to press a pause button. I do not want you to fall pregnant again, because I do not want to have any more daughters. I am tired. I want a son. So when my husband said that I should stop giving birth, and I wanted us to try one more time, wishing and praying that this time around God was going to give me a son, but my husband was now refusing. He wanted us to just let it go at these 3 girls that we had now. When he said this, fear entered my heart, because that woman who had passed away, who was my husband's wife, she had given birth to boys, and I was scared that by the time that my husband was going to die, when I looked at him, he was about to die anyway, because he was quite old. So I didn't have any peace. I kept on asking myself what was going to happen when he passes away. Then his sons will come and collect everything that my husband was willing to give me, and all of his wealth that he wanted to leave behind for me. It was all going to be taken away, because his own sons, they were going to say that, why do you want to inherit our father's wealth, yet you didn't give our father any son? And these daughters of yours, they are eventually going to get married. So once they have gotten married, then their husbands are the ones that are going to benefit from our father's hard work. This was like fear that was speaking with me all the time. Whenever I would think of his properties, my brother, fear will enter into my body. I then spoke with this other friend of mine, and when I spoke with this friend of mine, I told her everything that I was thinking, everything that I had been going through, and all of my fears. This was like a good friend of mine. Then she gave me advice, and it was not good advice. We were both young, it was bad advice. She then said that we are going to go to this other healer, because she was saying that she had stories whereby there are healers that are actually able to make your womb only accept the seed that will be carrying the DNA that can only bring forth a male child. So she said, let us go out there, let us look for help. My brother, me and her, we were so reckless. We entered into different compounds as we were looking for different traditional healers. We didn't care if these traditional healers that we were approaching, if they were good or evil. All that we wanted was someone that was going to assist me to turn my womb around so that it can only accept seed that will bring forth a male child. So it then happened that we went to this other village after we had received information that in that village there was a traditional healer that could actually assist me. When we arrived in that village, my brother, we then found out that everyone in that village was gathered in one place. What was happening is that this village had been suffering from a lot of witchcraft and witches. So the village headman, he had actually requested the chief that the chief was supposed to find this other traditional, and the chief, the village headman, had actually requested that the chief was supposed to hire the services of a witch hunter. In our country, we call them Tikamtanda. These witch hunters, they are very powerful traditional healers. These traditional healers are more powerful than your normal traditional healers. Their job is to go around the country hunting witches. So we found out that in that village, these two witch hunters, they were busy operating. The way that they operate is that when there are witches in the village, what they do is that they gather all the villagers in one place, then they place a walking stick like in front of the whole crowd, and one by one all the villagers are supposed to walk in a single file, whilst they will be jumping that walking stick. So that is why they are called Skamtanda, because it means that you have to step on the walking stick, and if you are a witch, then you will start manifesting. So after that ceremony had been held, we then went and we spoke with these witch hunters, and we told them that we were looking for someone who could assist me. As for me, I just wanted someone who would be able to turn around my womb. As for my own friend, she wanted to sort out her husband so that her husband can be more like a slave to her. Then these witch hunters said to us that after the ceremony, we were supposed to follow them because they had their encampment that was outside of the village. So they said, you must follow us after we have finished performing this ceremony. Soon after the ceremony, when they had gathered their items, we then started following them, and we arrived at their encampment. They gave us some herbal mix to drink. After we had drunk that herbal mix, feelings started affecting us, feelings wanting us to sleep with these witch hunters. My brother, when I entered into one of the witch hunters' consulting room, I found myself kissing and lusting after that witch hunter. We both made love, me and my friend, to these witch hunters. And my friend, like, she wanted to fix her husband, but as for me, my brother, soon after sleeping with the other witch hunter, when I returned back to my husband, I then found out that I had fallen pregnant for that witch hunter, and I had been stupid enough not to even ask for his name, and I didn't even ask from where he comes from. We had just made love and we had gone our separate ways. When my husband found out that I had fallen pregnant again, he got so angry at me. Throughout my pregnancy, he was ignoring me. He only came to the hospital when he heard the news that I had given birth to a baby boy. But what he didn't know is that this baby boy that I had given birth to, it was not his child, but this child I had been impregnated by that witch hunter in that village. My brother, the day that my friend passed away, I was happy because I knew that she was the only one who knew this secret. So when she passed away, I knew that she had taken this dark secret with her to her own grave. And after my friend had passed away, still fear started returning back to me. I kept on asking myself, what is going to happen if this man is going to find out that this child is not his child? And the moment that I started thinking about it over and over again, it was like a demon rose from the pit of hell and possessed me, and I had my husband murdered in a ritual way. I went and I consulted with this other healer who told me that he was willing to do this deal. He wanted to kill my husband, and this traditional healer, what he did is that he gave me some charms. These charms, they were powdered. It was a white powdered charm. He said that I was supposed to use it when I will be cooking for my husband, as well as when I will be dishing out the food for my husband. I had to sprinkle some of that white powder in the food. My husband suddenly passed away, and after my husband had passed away, that witch had said that he was going to wake up a very powerful demonic spirit. He called this demonic spirit that he had woken up the spirit of confusion. He said that I am going to awaken this spirit of confusion, so that by the time that your husband is going to die, there will be so much confusion in your husband's family, so that no one will even bother to think about your son and to think about your husband's wealth. And that is what happened. When it came time for my husband's family to have their own family meeting, they could not agree upon anything. They started fighting and fighting, and at the end of the day, I was the winner. Years went by, my brother. Then suddenly, when I looked at my son, I then said, I do not want my son to use my late husband's surname, because he is not related to this family in any kind of way. I want at least for my son to use my own father's surname, because as for his father, that witch hunter, I don't have any single idea where he is. But what is confusing me is that what will happen, my brother? Will my son lose out because on all the papers I am his guardian, but it is only because he is using the surname of my wealthy late husband? But if I change him, does mean that my son will be removed from everything? He is not going to inherit anything. Please help me out before I make this decision. Oh, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sisters. Then we had to give you this translation. Yo,